Hiya, it's Gaz here from Moth Creaturae with another video update on this custom motorcycle helmet project that we're doing. So let's just get straight into it. It won't be as long as the last few videos that we've done. There's no sort of fabricating bits and pieces today. We're making some templates. So quick recap on the helmet. You'll see that I've kind of got one of the visors stuck in place at the moment using just tape. And what I've done is I've already went ahead and drilled in. You'll remember I did the sort of press studs on the front here, which hold the peak in place, and on the back I said I was going to do like sort of equidistant between each of the studs. I'm just going to do the studs coming down in the same sort of line, and I've done that on both sides. If you remember what I said, I was going to drill them a little bit beyond the sort of blanks that we made originally, because they're going to be very thick. And the studs, the rivet on the back of the stud wouldn't get through it, so we went back to the original sort of carbon fibre shell, and you'll see on the inside you can see it, there we go, right in my finger there, so right in there, that's where it'll go. So the receiving end, the sort of flat plate will go on the inside there, and we'll smash that rivet down, it'll stay in place. Right, so I've went ahead and I've made one of the what do you call them, templates, what I'm going to use for the straps. And the idea being that it's this side. The idea being that what we're going to do, we're going to cut slits in the side of the visor here. I've took out the pin lock mounts that were in here for the visor tear offs, so I've took them out, leaving a hole. So it makes sense to use that hole as part of the slit that I'm going to cut. Right now, here's one of the blanks that I've made, and you'll see that I've already got a like sort of lined up little hole there. That'll pretty much be where the stud's going to be, and then it'll go on that sort of angle like that, and it'll go into the slit. Now clearly that's going to be extended. It'll probably be likely be twice the size of this, because it'll feed through that slit back on itself, right, and then it'll be nicely stitched up all the way along there and around, right, and that'll stay in place. Obviously that'll hide the sort of this rubber seal that goes around the visor. The edge will be or the sort of join between both ends will be hidden behind one of these, so that'll be in place there. And then on this side we'll put like a little stud on there, and that'll clip in place, and that's going to be black leather, and it's going to have my intention is my little Moth Creaturae sort of brand and logo. We're going to, like, if you imagine that being see-through there, we're going to emboss that into the leather. Hopefully that'll work. That's the plan anyway. And that'll probably be done black leather and maybe black stitching, maybe a contrast silver stitch. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe just stick with black leather for now. Yeah, black stitching, black with black, that'll look cool. And silver stud. Anyway, I'm going to show you how I made this template today, and we're going to use the other side. Clearly what I could do is just go ahead and copy this, but then where would the video come in? So I'll show you how I've done this. Right, so the first thing we want to do, get you set up so you can see what I'm doing here. I'll put you on. Right, what I've done around here, you'll see I've already, you see these two thin pieces of blue tape? The reason I've put them on is, like I mentioned, the little hole there that was drilled in by AGV manufacturer, right? We're gonna have to use that. It makes no sense cutting a separate slit and leaving that hole there. So we may as well use that hole as part of it, because it's material that we're losing anyway. So that's going to be smack bang in the center of the slit that we're going to cut. So on the far inner edge of the hole, I've drew a line, and it goes down on the same angle as this here, right? There is actually like a sort of a fold in the visor. I'm not sure you can see it there. There, you can see the fold. That's the fold of the visor, and it kind of strengthens the edge. So I've done the lines in the same angle as that, right? Same distance. So on one side of the hole, I've done that line, and on the other side of the hole, I've done that line. Now, clearly we can't just cut all the way from top to bottom of the visor. What we'll have to do is stop, and we need to leave enough material on the edges to keep it strong, otherwise it'll just break off. So what I decided to do was use the seal going around, but on the inner edge of the seal apply a piece of this blue tape, likewise on the bottom there, piece of the blue tape. So I figured that's going to give about 9mm, almost 10mm, like a centimetre of sort of material on either edge of that. So we'll remove a slit in between of it. So that's what I figured. So on that sort of angle there, right, where that line comes down and it intersects with the blue line going up, that's one corner we'll use. And likewise, where it comes up here and intercepts there, that's the other corner we'll use. So I used thin lining tape, and I'll just tear off some thin lining tape. Right, and also we went to the back of the stud, like we left the stud in place. So I'll just put this piece on so you'll see what I mean. So oh, you bugger. Just tear that off. There's one done. And there's the other done. And it's the outside edge that we're going to be using, the outside edge of that we're going to be using. We're not going to be cutting the inside edge, the outside edge. I'm just going to line this up, like flip it around and line it up to see what it's like, and it should be roughly the same. Cool. So by the time we've got this template cut off, it should be pretty much the same size as this. Clearly what we're going to do is we're going to make sure they're both the same size, so I'll trace one, but I'm just showing you how I made this template. So the next thing I want to do is remove this stud from the back of here. We've had it in place for where we wanted it, so I'm just going to push this out. Like the studs at the front for the peak, I haven't secured it in place yet. We can't do that until after paint. So I'm just going to push this out. Right, and the reason we've done that is I thought about how we could kind of map this sort of shape across, and I thought we could put paper on it and trace it and all this sort of shenanigans. And then I thought the easiest way is probably to stick sellotape over it, so strips of sellotape over it, just like I've done there. So we'll hoy a load of sellotape on, 3 different layers in like sort of 2 different directions, this way first, then up, then across again. We'll peel it all off, we'll flip it over on the reverse, we'll put 3 strips over the sticky side so it's not sticky anymore, and then we'll just cut out the blue lines with the scissors, give them our template. And then we can use this, put it down on paper to draw around it. This is the bit that'll take the longest, trying to find the edge. Here we go. First thing, I'm just going to go over one of the blue edges first of all. Make sure that's really stuck down on that blue tape, because we're going to lift that, we'll want the blue tape to stay in place. The benefits of using sellotape is because, well, A, it makes it less of a faff than trying to keep paper in position while we trace it and all this sort of stuff, you know. It obviously allows us to see straight through to the lines that we've got drawn underneath. So we can see the circle there where we've already drilled, and we can also see the lines where we've cut there with these. So before we go and strip it off, we can actually, you know, trace them lines in the circle onto the sellotape, and then we'll peel it off and we'll know that they're in the right position that we wanted them. Right, now for the many sort of vertical strips. The reason I'm putting loads of layers on, right, well 3 layers and then finally a 4th layer once we've removed it, is because I want this to be a durable template. It needs to sort of have a bit of strength to it, a bit of integrity. If it's just floppy, it's not going to keep its shape and it'll be useless as a template. Good news on the parts front for my bike. I spoke to Joe, the guy who's making us my parts, and he should have these parts done for us, hopefully within the next few days, so I'll get them back hopefully by the end of the week or even early next week. And then next weekend start looking at putting the bike together to get a rolling chassis, and then start mocking up bits that we'll want to sort of change, I suppose, and fabricate. A big job for the bike, like a big sort of focal point, is going to be what I do with the fuel tank. It's my intention to hide the oil tank and the electrics and everything, so it will just look like that old sort of, what do they call it, metaphor? Is it a metaphor? I can't remember what they call it. KISS, keep it simple stupid. Anagram, keep it simple stupid. So what I want to do in all my design, I want it to look like it's so basic and simple, but then actually on the second look you think, well, how's he done that? And then you realise that actually it's really not very simple at all. There's a lot of sort of thought and sort of effort went into making it look like it's simple. Right, so we've got enough layers on there. We're going to remove this now, and then we'll lay it down on the table, and then we'll put some sticky tape on the reverse edge, which means we can pick it up and handle it. Now it's important when we're peeling it, you'll see that blue line's stuck with the sellotape, great. But when we're lifting it, the other layer's not, it's stuck down. So it's important that we go slow and make sure that that lifts at the same time as each other. In fact, what I'm going to do just beforehand, just in case they do lift off, I'm just going to put some little red marks on the outside edge of that blue line. And I'm going to draw in the circle so we know where that is for the stud. And then we'll draw on this line, the straight line. Be difficult to see there, but what I've basically done is drawn like a dashed line around the outside edge of them blue strips. It doesn't have to be perfect, that line, it just needed to be the dashes, so it gives us a rough representation of where the line flows, because then when we take it off, what we'll do is when we've stuck tape on the other side to make it handable, we'll draw the line in properly with a ruler. There we go, helmet, put that on one side, and there's the early part of our template. We're going to stick it down with sticky side up for now. We'll have some strips of sellotape over it. Again, go over the blue line first. Second blue line, and then the bits in the middle. Right, don't need to do the edges because we're going to cut that off now anyway. So now, what we'll do, before I do that, I'm just going to draw over the corners, draw over the blue lines, join them up. And you'll see straight away, so we're cutting this straight, we're drawing a straight line from one edge to the other edge. I'll show you what I mean when I pick this up. Right, and you'll see from one corner, yeah, to the other corner, you'll see that, I'll put my hand behind it so you can see the red line. The red line's not actually, like if you look where my finger is, the red line's actually away from the blue tape in the center, which means that the blue tape is curved like when I've put it on. So I've laid it on and I must have put a bit of tension on because it's not pulled straight, it's pulled on a curve, and it's done that on both edges. But now I've drawn over it, we know we've got the straight edges, so what I'll do, I'll follow the straight edges when I cut. I'm not in a hurry, we'll just take the time, but I know that I'm going to be cutting over some of the blue line now. There we go, and then the final piece, I need my key. I used this key before, it's a key for my workshop. And what I did was, from the centre of where the stud goes, that circle there, from the centre of there to the edge, I measured, so the diameter. So that's 2.4. So that would be 1.2 would be the centre. Just make sure that's right on both sides. 1.2, yeah. So then I'll measure 1.2 up, like away from it. Right. So now I know where the centre of that is, and now I know where the edges are at the sides. And now I've drawn my little red mark on it there, you see. There's where the hole is, and above it that's where my 1.2 mark is. So what I'll do is I'll just line the edge of my key up with that. That's what I did before for the other one. That gives a nice even radius around there, so when I put my press stud in, it goes right in the middle, and that radius is nice all the way around. I'll just cut that out. There's my template. Template for my visor strap. With the other side, let's match it up, see what it looks like. You know what it is? That's really good, that. It's right, lengthwise, from the top tip, right, where it's touching each other, to the edge, exactly right. Width across, like the dots, the circles where you cannot see on that video, it's shocking. The dots where I've got the press stud centre, they're aligned, and the widths are exactly right, the radius is right. The only thing that's different is on the bottom edge. So when that's totally aligned, the only thing that's different is this bottom corner here. One of them's 2 mil longer, so I'll have to adjust that on both sides to make sure it's correct. I want them to be the same, but equally it's no good one side being too tight. Obviously I've done all this by eye, you know, so if I make it exactly the same and then it ends up being too tight where it doesn't fit, that's a lot of wasted work. But I'm happy with my templates, so I'll make these out of paper now. I'll probably double them, fold them back round on themselves, and see that once I've made the slits in the visor that they do actually work. And then the next thing to be doing is sending me templates off to my mate Steve, who makes the most amazing sort of handcrafted leather goods, and he's quite excited to be part of this project, so he's going to make us me sort of visor straps. Obviously with the visor straps we need these 2 for this visor, and we need 2 for the other visor, the black visor. So thanks very much for bearing with us for 21 minutes today, a lot less than what it usually is. Next video, you'll not see these leather straps for a couple of weeks, I wouldn't have thought, but the next video I'll have the paper straps made and I'll be cutting the visor sort of slits in, showing you how that is. Okay, well, until then, take care, bye bye.